Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL SuperCoach team picker team. At the moment obviously we don't have the full game out, but at least I can show you my team picker and I'm feeling a little bit better. Not 100% better yet, and that's why the BBL SuperCoach stuff will come back tomorrow with all my sort of spreadsheets and everything, like I was saying in the AFL Fantasy. And I'm going to sort of, because the way that this is at the moment, it aligns almost perfectly with my AFL Fantasy team. So out of 31 players in SuperCoach and 30 in Fantasy, I want to say that there's probably 25 matches or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 25 out of 31 SuperCoach players that I have on my side right now are the same, which probably allows me to go a little bit more in depth in the slightly different players, even though one of them is a just bench loop option. Which I will probably change anyway in a second. Or I should say, yeah, I'll probably change that anyway because, I do want a loop option probably, but we'll see about that as well because we do have the early buy. So maybe you do just go with the captaincy option in round 1, then round 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can sort of have those options. And then by that time you get sort of a lot of cash gen, especially with this flex position, and then you can use that to your advantage. But anyway, let's just jump into this video and I'll sort of, I think, talk more in depth about the players that are different. Obviously, as you can see with the backline, it is the exact same. One guy that I did definitely have in my fantasy video, but I don't know if he's there currently in the fantasy team, but he definitely was there yesterday, as I've done just like 1 or 2 changes that I think are better suited. Caleb Smith is a guy that I'm definitely looking at, as I said in the fantasy video, with Coleman and Mills, and we need to watch these two in opening round, which we get the luxury of that. With these two, their role and how they come back, especially for Coleman from the ACL, is definitely going to be interesting. We've seen in other sports as well as AFL itself that players tend to struggle a little bit coming back from a major injury like that. It's not like a minor hamstring or something like that they can come back and straight onto the scene. And you kind of get mixed results. So we'll see how Coleman comes back, but he is certainly a guy that I think can, in the past, shown that he can do it at a really good level. So hopefully he can do that. And Mills, obviously, we just want that midfield role, because that midfield halfback role, the points differential split that he could get is, 15, 20, 25 points potentially. So if he doesn't get it, it'll be interesting how people go, which path people go down. Because if I just bring this up here, we just go here and we go to defenders, I guess. In this sort of 400k range, you get a lot of players. Maybe Kane Farrell, you take the punt on him there. A lot of people will go to a Jaden Short, but I already have him in the side. Some people will go to Matty Roberts, but if Callum Mills is down back and not really in the midfield, can you really go to Matty Roberts at that point? Just looking through here, I don't think there are many. Maybe a lot of people will probably switch to Perryman, which I think could be an option, but I just don't know if he has enough upside, I'd say. I'd have to go back and look at that Google Docs to show you the best option. But like looking through here, there's a lot of guys that I just don't think are massive needle movers, to be honest with you. Maybe Sam De Koning finally gets that ruck roll and that's when he explodes. Maybe that's an option there, but I don't know. Even he's on the early buy as well, which at least you get to watch if he's going to ruck there. Maybe one of the, you're not going to probably go for a Buderick or a Ballard or someone from that Gold Coast defense anymore. Maybe you do go the Archie Roberts route, who's heavily discounted at about the 63 marker. Maybe you go down to his route and you watch him play, but also you've got Said Al-Hawli there, so I don't think he's an option realistically. But we'll just wait and see, I guess, to see where he's going to line up is the likes of Callum Mills, because either him or Angus Sheldrick's going to be value. And if we do get Angus Sheldrick, where is it? Midfielders, Sheldrick literally will just slot straight in for probably an Ed Allen at this point. Just because if he gets that midfield role, he's priced at 161k, but yeah, if we just go down to that 161k region, hopefully there's someone there that's played before that'll give us the rough price range. Let's go to flex and go down to the 160k region, because hopefully that'll give us someone that's played enough to show you roughly what it is. Just looking through here, it looks to be somewhere in that, you can see Woe Whedon here at 28.3, so it looks to be somewhere around that 30 marker, and we've seen Sheldrick in the past definitely go over that. So if he's playing, he's definitely a super coach. Easy selection if he's in that midfield slot. It's probably, arguably, the easiest lock of a position that you'll see, much to the same that we had with Matty Roberts last year for the Swans. Just because Angus Sheldrick is he a third or fourth? I think he's fourth year, and effectively the same. He would be the same price as a Xavier Lindsay, or what's the other draftees that are around that range. He'd be cheaper than Alex Tyree, like the number 7 pick or number 8 pick, I think, in the AFL draft, which just shows how cheap he would be. He's cheaper than Leo Lombard and has got 3 years extra in the AFL system than Lombard. So yeah, pretty simple if he gets that role. But that's all about this argument with Callum Mills and where he plays and what happens with Coleman. And I don't know if there's too many options, to be honest, near and enough around that Coleman price. Just being brutally honest, maybe an Ari Schoenmaker, but then that means that Toby Travali is probably not going to get that role that we want, so you can't really go there, I don't think. And I don't know if there's anyone else, to be honest with you. You could maybe have a look at Tom Dodie and see how he goes, but he doesn't. He feels more key, sort of locked down than an actual distributor, to be honest, in that Brisbane system. But I mean, that Brisbane system should be suited towards helping him out a little bit more. To score well, maybe you could go another one of these halfbacks from these cheap North halfbacks, like a Hardman or a Gota or something like that. That could be an option there as well. Miles Bergman, they're all cheap there, so maybe you could go down that route. But or you could go down the Caleb Smith route and go real dirt cheap in that back line. But that's a really tough one to fork out if you do run into trouble there. So I do really want to hold some value in that back line there, at least, because I know that Short, Mills and Coleman are going to gain a lot of cash alongside the rookies, but you really don't want to be playing 2 rookies and 2 mid prices, I don't think, in the back line. I think you want slightly more cash in the back line there, as after 3 or 4 rounds, Coleman and even a Said Al-Hawli will probably be at like 200k or whatever. So you're starting to get to that point where they can combine up to a primo almost if they get some really good cash gen. But anyway, that's enough talk about the backline. That was the exact same as the fantasy backline. Zach Butters in here over Bont is definitely terrifying, to be honest with you. If I just scroll up and go all the way up to Bontempelli at 681k. He did average 126 Bont, and it felt like a down year. So I probably will. I could end up with a Bont easily in that back line. Sorry, not in the back line, in the midfield at that M1 slot again, and could just go awfully similar with Bont and also like Brayshaw. But we'll see how that pans out, and we'll see. I'll talk a lot to some other SuperCoach players, etc., content creators, and just see what their thoughts are about that, because those two are genuine. As I said in the fancy one, they're genuine tag threats, or as in they'll get tagged quite a lot alongside the likes of Neil, as you'll see here in the top for those watching along on YouTube. And I'm hovering over Neil in the selection bar. yeah, a lot of these guys are at the top end are massive tag risks, as well as like even Adam Treloar and Zach Merritt as well. So that's like 4 out of the top 9. Even Nick Dacos, so 5 out of the top 9 can realistically get tagged to pretty low scores. Whereas I don't think guys like, I mean, you could tag Flanders, but I feel like he just gets junk ball out the back. Bont, I don't think you can tag him too well. Heaney, I don't think you can tag him too well. And also don't think, and that's pretty much all for the top, yeah, that's the 3 players there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, so 6 out of the top 9 are tag threats or tag risks, and the other 3 are just your big brute, well, 2 of them are your brutier sort of midfielders, and then you've got a halfback flanker in the midfield for the top 10 guys. So yeah, I have thought about going potentially away from a Sarong and more towards a Brayshaw, but we'll have to wait and see about that. Petrarca, I feel like he's going to be a guy that's a must-have. I feel like just in general, getting back to his best. I think at Melbourne midfield could easily get back to their best. And the thing is, if the likes of Oliver is back to his best as well, who is a guy that I do want to somehow fit into this lineup here, which is quite hard because he's like 450k or something, I think. Is he 450? Yeah, 451k. Quite hard to fit him in unless I were to go down Sarong and then even Ed Allen down to someone there as well. That creates another 60, so that would be 80k on Cummings. So I'd still need another 150 odd k or something like that. Maybe that's a Matt Flynn down, which I don't really want to do at the moment. But yeah, I do want to probably get that Oliver in here just to create even more, I think, value or at least potential there with Oliver, as well as Oliver's in a really good slot at the moment, to either explode and be back to his best and you get such a cheap M8, or he's doesn't live up to it and in 1 to 2 weeks you can easily trade him before he gets that before he doesn't really move in his price needle and other guys move. You can trade him to someone else, so there's that as well. So we'll just have to see with regards to that, because I'm just thinking about it. What's Doherty priced at? 487, so he's around the same marker. So yeah, I just want to see about that and how these type of guys will maneuver, because you will have, I think, is Mills on the round 3, so you will have him having his price rise. You'll have other guys having their price rise, I think early, but I'm pretty sure there's 2 teams on round 2 that won't get their price rise. It might even be, no, Brisbane's on round 3. I don't know who exactly it is from memory, because I remember Hawks and, so it must be like Gold Coast that's on round 2. Okay, so I don't remember who exactly it is, but I'll check that up again. And yeah, so Cumming is one that definitely, like I was saying in the AFL fantasy preview, or team reveal, sorry, that M5, M4 range is one that I can already tell you has changed slightly to a different combination in the AFL fantasy, but will definitely flip-flop in the Supercoach realm as well. And then I've just got these 7 best midfield rookies, simply Smith, Draper, Ashcroft, Langford, Smiley, Lindsay, and then I've heard really good thoughts about Ed Allen, and I think his price is sort of ruined in AFL fantasy, but I think in Supercoach he's a guy that can really do valuable. As I said in fantasy, I'm pretty sure his price is ruined by about 200k because of the last game 87 that he had, but I think it's shown promising signs, and that's a guy that I really want to see if I can get on early. Given that they do have the early, do they have round 3, I think, is their buy, so he might be a guy to really target early, given that they've got that round 0, and a guy that we get to watch and see how he goes, him and Sheldrick, etc., if Sheldrick is playing. Then we get to the ruck line. I think this is pretty simple. I've pretty much had this same exact combo. And then you have Riddell here. I could probably even go to I think a Livingston as well. I have both of them across, but Livingston's 119. So is there any West Coast rucks that are cheap that have dual? There is not. So I guess you got to go with the Fremantle dual ruck, because I'm pretty sure they play late on a lot of their games, and that is the Aiden Riddell. So yeah, I think those 2 usually play their games on the Sunday. So I want to grab a ruck, even though I do want the ruck forward. So maybe I do just do this, go cheap and go this and go this, and then we'll see. Is there any sort of ruck forward combo guys that are DPP? and they're all 119s. Or 113 is the lowest. So that really does suck that you don't get a DPP ruck that is cheap. So there's definitely, actually thinking about it now, reason to put sort of Matt Flynn here and then go almost a different guy in there, and you just run with having a captaincy score only and no VC. So there is that, but I'll explore that later, I think. And then in the forward line, Horn Francis, a guy that I didn't have in Fantasy, but now having in Supercoach and not in Fantasy is a weird split. But I feel like he's more warranted in Supercoach than Fantasy, just because with his impact per possession, I feel like it measures a lot more in Supercoach than it does in Fantasy, and that's why his scores feel a little bit more well-rounded in Supercoach. McRae, Bazza Smith, Philippou, and Daniel are sort of just commonplace in everyone's side. I think those four are pretty much locked across both formats, and you can pretty much put Hewitt and Curtin as the two rookies. I would pretty much lock in your side in the both formats for the forward line, just because they're forwards and they're playing a midfield-ish role. If not, Curtin will be playing off half-back, and hopefully more of a running half-back than a lockdown. And then you've got Caden Cleary here, who a guy that with Detoli's injury, I think I said this in the fantasy preview, I just think that he doesn't get that sub role that he had previously in 2024, and I think he gets that small forward role. I compared his numbers to the likes of Wicks, and I think also that he'll get a little bit of midfield time. He's shown that when he plays full time, I think if I just go to his numbers, I know his fantasy numbers are about 50 or so. I just want to check his Supercoach numbers for a second here. Let's just go here to Supercoach and then go to Caden Cleary. And then we'll check out his Supercoach numbers when he doesn't have the sub role. When he doesn't have the sub role, he had a 35 and a 62, which is a 48.5. I think he can better that throughout the season. I also think that, he had some shocking kicking efficiency in that game. I think his disposal efficiency will be up, and I think he'll generally do a little bit better, as he did have 16 touches in that for a 35, which is quite a little bit annoying that he had that low of a score. I don't know why he had that low of a score. Maybe it was the scoring patterns or whatever about it, but just couldn't seemingly get on the board as much, and maybe it was disposal efficiency or something like that. Maybe it was the kicking that really let him down or something, but I think that he's one of the best on-ballers from the 2023 AFL draft, if I remember that correctly. So I think he's the guy that will genuinely start to really get that, be pushed more from that small forward to that midfielder role in the next year or two. And I'm just predicting that he'll go from a rookie price to like 300, 400k in Supercoach, which 300 to 400k is roughly, if I just do the put it to 330k and get rid of dual position players and then go to, let's just go to midfielders, because you'll see it's around about a 60, which I think is definitely achievable. 300k is actually in and around that sort of marker of 55, which I think is very achievable for him. So 300k would put him at a cash generation of about 180k, which would be absolutely huge. It would almost finish off the forward line if him, Curtin, and Hewitt all just made even just 180k each. If they all made 180k each, that's 540k, and then you're going to be able to move them all around and get the last forward that you want. And so that's pretty much the side at the moment. I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, there will be changes, but I'm hoping not to make as many changes. As I said with the AFL fans, I want to more put it so that it's the same team, but I'll have flags on who I want, etc. But anyway, that is the video there. If you did enjoy it, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on if you're on YouTube, and if you're listening along on Spotify, give me a follow, and you'll be able to be notified when the content drops on there. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better, or pretty much fully fit by then, so that I can get back into the swing of things for BBL SuperCoach, as this has been a horrible year for BBL SuperCoach. But hopefully my tips and tricks can get you guys up the ranks when I bring that back tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in that long video tomorrow. Bye guys.